Does social media validate your relationship? Doc?
No, it doesn't. But I put my relationship, my marriage, my kids, all of that on social media. I have a Connect the Dots hashtag where we do a lot of things. But my wife, she doesn't necessarily even have a social media. She got one of them little ghost pages where she don't have. Yeah, she's super creep on social media. Like I'll be on live and I'll just see her pop up. I'm like, I know you here. Don't be trying to. I know that burn. I know that burn. She definitely got offensive. But no, not me, man. It doesn't validate.
What about what do you think the climate of social media is now, as far as some people using social media to validate relationships?
I think with today's climate, it's just it doesn't exist if you don't put it on social media. I think that's how people feel about it. So I think when you see people posting like constantly about their relationship, it doesn't mean that they're happy. It doesn't validate the success of the relationship, but it does validate the exclusiveness of the relationship. It does mean, okay, I post this person, this is my boyfriend, my girlfriend, whatever, this is my wife, my husband, whatever. And I think it just gives the public that kind of view into your relationship, saying, okay, these two people are together. But I think people look at it and say, oh, there's goals and I want to be like them. And it's like, that doesn't mean that they're happy because they're posting. It just means that they're smiling in this picture. Right. So I think it kind of validates the validity of it, but it doesn't really validate everything that's going on in the relationship.
Yeah, I agree, bro. I think it should be like looked at inside out. You know what I'm saying? Just like he said, like, but on the inside of your relationship, it should start from there. Like, how are you internally? How do we have this connection? You know, because your relationship might not mean nothing to everybody else, but they looking at it like, oh, these two people are together. You know what I'm saying? You smiling in there, you happy, you can be home, like throwing everything in each other. You can have a toxic relationship. Right. It's not the truth. It's just like what is. And with social media being like the highlight of everybody's lives in 2020, it has some terms of validation, you know, depending on who it is, the individual, depending on what it means to you. Yeah. That's the validation.
Sure. Now, I would just like to say real quick, be clear. People do use social media to validate their relationship. Yeah, sure. There are marriages and boyfriend, girlfriends that break up because you ain't posting me on your brand. What's that all about? Right. You asked on a personal setting, it's not that way in my relationship, thank God. But I got friends that just were on the outs that I was just talking to a couple days ago about the she being upset that she's not being posted and what does that mean and all that kind of stuff. Like,
does he post his other stuff? Is he heavy on the gram?
That's the thing. He is heavy on the gram.
He's heavy on the gram and not posting girls.
I see that. I think that plays into a deeper role of what is the individual's level of comfort within themselves, right? Because they feel like I need the person to post me. If your relationship is solid, you don't necessarily need that. But the relationship goals hashtag and you see people finding partners something. It's a nasty world to be in. I think it eats up people who just aren't confident.
Now, do you think as far as when it comes to gender, how would you feel as men if you more so was proud of your woman, you want to post your woman, but she said, nah, I'm good. I'm not posting you on my page. How would you feel if the roles are reversed?
I think that'll make a man feel insecure. You know what I'm saying? Because as men, you know, we do have that masculine trait. Most of us, you know, it's just especially with our woman. Like, you know, you king in that relationship. Hopefully, guys, you know, and that can knock you down because you're like, dang, why she don't want? You know, because usually it's flip flop.
Right, exactly.
Why she don't want me to be seen? Like, who she got? And in most cases, it's probably true. Just so, you know, I want to put on record. It's with men too, it's probably true on our side. You know, we've been there where we don't want to post that early. And the fact is, like, we probably do, we're not ready to show them off yet. You know what I'm saying? But if you in something like that's great, you shouldn't be afraid.
That's one of the questions that I have. Like, at what point do you say, all right, I'm willing to post you, I can post you? What's too early?
I think it depends, right? It depends on how comfortable you are with that person. Like, personally, me and my girlfriend, I don't really post her on my social media a lot because I know I care about her and I know that I love her and I know that I don't need to post her on social media and let other people know that I love her for her to know that I do love her.
But do you post other stuff, like you post your outfits and other things that you have?
I honestly don't. My social media, I try to keep it pretty professional, like mostly business related. So I feel like in that scenario, it doesn't, you know,
you do a lot of advocacy for you and each other.
Exactly.
Right. I think it's a gradual release though, Doc, when you think about it, because you're like, when's the time that you post? You also notice to think about it. When you see them out, you'll see the little picture on the highlight story with 2 drinks. That's how it first started. Right, then you see that little hand. And then another country take
put an emoji over your face.
If you got the emoji face, you thought
it's coming out. it comes down.
Hey, I just want to be on record saying my man Lod is the king of that. He's the king.
The intro,
But the piggyback on Parker, like, that's real. You know what I'm saying? It depends on each person. I've been there before, you know what I'm saying? And we all rely on status to a certain extent. A lot of people do. So, like, if you're weak at heart, you know what I'm saying, you won't be able to face the people. You ready to face the music yet? If you're strong and secure in your relationship, or you really that in love, it's like, all right, I'm ready, you know? But, I mean, should that be on one person or should it be on both? I think it should be an agreement.
For sure, like even transparency moment for me, like in past relationships, I had posted heavy on social media and the relationship didn't work out. And then the following relationships after that, I took it upon myself to cut back on how much I posted on social media of me and my girl and focus more so on the relationship because I feel like I was negating that. And so that didn't more so go over well with the woman, no matter how I introduced it and no matter how much I phrased it. It was more so of a, they suspected like, okay, are you not proud of me? Are you not proud of this relationship? You got something else going on, yada, yada, yada. So like, how do men, what recommendations would you give for men on how, if they genuinely felt as if they did not want to post their woman on their social media, what advice would you give them?
Don't.
It's a personal
It comes down
choice.
to, like you said, it comes down to what you're comfortable
But it ain't
with.
that easy when you're dealing with your woman though.
But
It sounds good.
It's communication, right? So if I say, like, I think you were asking, like, when's the time? I think the only requirement probably would be when you're married. Like, you know what I mean? Because you're probably going to post your family pictures. I think what
For
Big
the
Sean
engagement,
said,
you're just gonna post
Big
the ring.
Sean said, it's a nightmare when your dream girl got to get canceled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so if you got your girl, you got to go delete all these
All this
Instagram
stuff.
pictures. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
like some people are okay with that. Like, I would hate to have to go back 6 months and start deleting pictures.
I don't like
you
that
know what
process.
I mean? I'll probably just leave you on
It's
there.
kind of crazy.
Also, to your point, bro, I've had to do it and I've had it done to me, and it don't feel good doing it.
Right.
And it also don't feel good having it done.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right, because you also people actually go
You
to your
just see
page.
yourself getting,
But
you
people,
don't want to get just like an
but let me
Avenger.
tell you about the validation though. Let me tell you about the validation from the outside looking in. The world validates your relationship based on, let's say for instance, you post your girl and then somebody can go on your page 6 months later and say, oh, he took the pictures of his girl down, they must have broke up. So now they're interpreting your relationship
Yeah.
based on your use of IG.
And they probably, if they paying that much attention, they probably sliding them.
Oh, they are for
DMs.
sure. That's also what I was just
Probably
gonna say, bro.
sliding.
We have to remember what social media is. Like,
Right.
it's people on there that's crazy. It's a lot of women out here that just because they see we in a relationship and see us posting our woman and seeing us happy, they don't have no problem sliding. You know
Right.
what I mean? They're sliding there quick.
Oh, for sure.
Where you going? What you doing? Let's meet up. And so like, again, that's a point that we have to remember. Social media ain't all fine and dandy. You know? Sometimes it's better to keep things private and keep things personal and focus on yourself in the
For
relationship.
sure. And you know what another layer is too though? Like, let's focus on the fellas since we can speak on that. Like the fellas got to make sure that whenever they transition into relationships, they're ready to do that, right? And so sometimes you're not ready to post her on the gram because you weren't ready to get into a relationship from the jump.
That's
So
a big
like,
issue.
so as men, you got to make sure you put your foot down and say, you know, I enjoy you, I enjoy getting to know you, I enjoy dating you, I enjoy the consistency, but I'm just not ready to commit 100% because if social media and how we handle IG, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, whatever it may be, if that's a part of our relationship, we need to make sure that we don't want to accord with that.
I think that's important to agree upon too, because that starts from the beginning of the relationship, like you said, with communication, and she's gonna have to decide if she's willing to deal with that. For me personally, I'm not gonna have tons of pictures of me and my woman on my social media. That's not gonna be me, because I really don't depend on social media like that, unless it's business.
Right. We're talking about the money. Right.
But see, I think it's different. I think we got to draw a line in the sand between the female that is saying, "Hey, I want you to promote me," versus the dude that she knows is doing dirt, that she knows is not posting her because he got some other chicks out there that don't know about her. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so the reality with the whole posting thing is, as far as validation, which was the original question, it does validate, like y'all said, the insecure. If you're insecure about your relationship, you don't know where you stand in that relationship, you do need that validation from social media. But if you're in a relationship where you know where y'all stand, you know how he feels about you and how he promotes you and how he builds you up and supports you, you don't need it for that validation. So again, I think when social media validates your relationship, it is based on the insecurities like you brought up earlier.
For sure. And you know, also, like Mike, you may be able to speak on this. Like, since you're big on social media, both of you are kind of huge on social media. Do you find sometimes that whenever you date, you kind of date women that are opposite?
Yeah.
Maybe not big on the gram because you're
Yeah.
constantly on social media for business. Like, what kind of qualities do you look for, like, let's say in the past relationships, whatever it may be, as it pertains to relationships? Because, like, sometimes you can watch a woman on IG, see how she moves, and see if that's somebody that you're gonna be interested in investing your time in.
I want them to present themselves. I feel like everybody's their own brand in business. Just on site. I'm a firm believer of whoever you entertain, that's actually a physical representation of what you believe that you're worth. So when it comes to their social media, I am looking for some quality stuff. Then she may have a little bit of fun twerking with the girls. I have no problem with that.
Absolutely. We all love a little twerk.
Right. Like after like, you got like 75 pictures of you showing with that one thigh sticking out with the same angle.
Looking on the right shoulder.
I'm like, all right. Until I get a chance to know her. So I just look for that first eye test, and then I try to actually take her out and see what she's about, because I know some people can post things, but in reality, they're a completely different person.
What about you, Sam?
I definitely look for it. I mean, I think as I'm building my social media platform, I've surrounded myself around women who have a social media presence, because I feel like they can incubate my vision. You know what I mean? They can bring it to life. They know how they can grow pages overnight, 1 million followers overnight. And I think one of it's because of, you know, like you said, the eye test and stuff like that, but I think they really know the game. Like you said, the burner pages and the hashtag usages and stuff like that. So I think going forward, maybe in a more serious relationship, maybe that wouldn't be my case. But I think as I'm getting to know people, I do want to surround myself with people who have gone into that industry, have gone into that lane, because that's where I'm trying to go right now. So
For sure. I think overall, man, the consensus is that, you know, social media does validate your relationship no matter if you like it or not. But it's up to you as an individual, as a man in your relationship, on how you and your woman or your partner is going to move forward with handling social media, the agreement. I think you should look at it like a business deal. When you're getting to know somebody, you can ask them, a question could be, how important is social media to you? How important is the image that we portray on social media to you? And then you can make your decision on transitioning into a relationship with that individual or not, or you can make some changes. I do think at the end of the day, we all have to be responsible, equally responsible on how we do that. Sometimes as fellas, like, you know, if we understand we in a situation, or we dating a woman and we got other women on the side that we're also dating, we got to make sure that we're conscientious of transitioning, providing ourselves with a transition period of canceling some of those relationships to focus on one person, so that whenever it is time to transition to a relationship, you're not so worried about who you post and when you post and other things like that.
I have been with my wife, now my wife, for 15 years. And I'm so thankful that I did not have to do dating during the social
In 2020.
Oh my God, just in the social media age period, man, like it's just, I can't imagine how taxing it is on y'all fellas, man. I just want to start praying for y'all.
Crazy, man. That's it.